Welcome back to Viewer's Voice. For this episode, I want to talk about how you shouldn't be the reason you don't succeed. And obviously, this applies to anything, but I want to really express it because I feel like this only gets more dangerous the more you realize a lot of the reasons as why you're not succeeding. So, for like a quick example, if you're, let's say we're talking about a class, right? Let's say the reason you're not passing the class or succeeding when it comes to this class, this topic, is simply because you aren't attending class. There's one like part of the subject you just keep overlooking and like refuse to go back and look at. For example, I know when I was in math class, I used to hate trying to figure out what to do about slope. Like I did for like the longest time, I just refused to address that part of like math anytime it was brought up. I didn't really care for it, right? So it's like if there's a part of the subject you're ignoring, let's say you're in physical class and there's a friend you keep allowing to distract you. Let's say you have glasses and instead of sitting in the front of the class, you just want to sit in the back so you can't see the board. A bunch of reasons, right? The more you understand a lot of things that are holding you back and you allow these things to take place and keep you from reeling yourself in to get to where you need to be and succeed, it's only gonna get more dangerous from there. So that's why I say don't be the reason you don't succeed. I'm strictly expressing that overall statement because I don't want you or anyone else to allow themselves to be consumed by just the lack of drive, the lack of effort, lack of ambition, and just allowing themselves to be distracted or brought down by things that they know they can easily overcome. Now, obviously, the first part is addressing the issue, right? If you ever want to figure something out or you ever want to solve something, the first part is understanding what it is, being accountable for it, taking responsibility, and no longer being in denial and just choosing to neglect or reject even what it is that's holding you back. Once you analyze and understand, like, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm not doing, this is what's keeping me from being where I need to be, and this is how I get there. Putting all those things together is how you want to get to where you want to be. And even more so. So it's like if you're the kind of person that you see all these things and you allow all these things to keep a blockage on you or blockade, even my fault. If you allow these things to just stand in front of your way and stand in front of your path, and you know what those things are, that's gonna be a very dangerous point in time zone that you don't want to be in. You don't want to allow yourself to be in a time or in a space where you just aren't allowing yourself to progress, even though you know damn well what's keeping you back. So back to that whole class scenario, it's like if you go into class next day and last night you spent at least like an hour thinking about, okay, why am I not passing the class? And you came up with 4 reasons as to why that may be, and you go to class next day and allow all 4 of those reasons to still be the reason why you have an F or a D, whatever the case may be, that's now on you. Now it's your fault for it. At least before, if you didn't know what the reasons may be or you didn't know how to solve them, you didn't know how to figure it out, that'd be different. Now, when you understand what it is, it becomes 10 times worse, right? When you are 100% aware of what you could be doing, yet you still refuse to do it, you're only making it worse from here. And it's only going to get harder because now it's no longer just a random occurrence. No, it's no longer a mistake. It's no longer you overlooking it. It's the fact that you see it and you choose to look the other way. That's where the problem's going to get drawn in and become an increasing problem of you procrastinating and being lazy and just being negligent, right? But however, if you at least come the next day and you at least fix one of those reasons, you at least get rid of one of those problems. Let's say instead of talking to your friend that much that day, you only give them a few responses or you only talk to them about the subject at hand and you leave it at that. Instead of checking your phone, you pay attention to the board. Instead of sitting in the back, you decide to sit in the front of this class, whatever. Right, instead of keeping your notebook closed, you decide to take more notes. You at least take one step in the right direction. That's progress. I'm not saying you have to wipe everything off the table the first day you come back. No, that's never going to happen. You will never achieve something within the same night or overnight, unless it's a small thing. But if it's something that you really want to get ahead of, or you want to succeed, or you want to do better, it's going to take time, and that's okay. But as long as you're in the process and making progress and doing that and taking the effort and taking initiative, then it's like if you choose to just not do any of that stuff, you're going to be in the same place, if not worse. It actually will get worse because if you're allowing yourself to be at a C- and you know your grades are going to keep going down if you keep the same behavior and you choose not to do anything, well, guess what? Your grades are going to go down. It's that simple. But like I said, it's just something I feel like people need to be more aware of, because like I said, the more you allow it to like bleed in onto the work that you've already done, is this is gonna overall damage the whole canvas, and you don't want to completely restart. Okay, at that point, that's what it's gonna lead to. You don't want to restart something just because you refuse to find a solution for what you could be doing instead. So like I said, it's just something I want to really put out there, because you don't want to be the reason you hold yourself back. Sometimes things get out of hand. Sometimes you gotta take a step back. Sometimes you may be feeling a little bit lazy and you honestly just can't pull yourself together to just get ahead on something or get on top of something. That's fine. Sometimes people need to realize, like, it's life. Not everyone's gonna be at their A game. Not everyone's gonna be at their B game even. Sometimes you have to take it down a couple notches and really just be there and just be present, and that's good enough, because sometimes people don't even do that. Sometimes people aren't even present enough in their own situations and scenarios to where now it becomes something else. Let's say those people just, so let's say you're one of the people that attend class and you have a bunch of reasons as to why you're not passing. At the very minimum, you're still in class, so you have to get credit somewhere. Sometimes people won't even go to class, so even though they're not experiencing over communication, being on their phone too much, lack of paying attention to the board, they're just choosing to ignore it altogether, which is could be even worse. But it's all a matter of how you look at it. But so long as you're looking at something, make sure you're doing it in a way that's gonna make sure that you succeed at the end of the day. You don't want to look at something and know you have something to accomplish and achieve, and still just neglect it, and still just refuse to address what the situation at hand is. That's gonna become a problem for you, and it's just not something that you want to get in the habit of doing. So even though I'm using a very small scenario right then and there and just talking about classes, like I said, it can easily spin out and be a whole different thing. What I'm doing right now is something that I need to be doing more consistently and more kind of like with more passion and more drive, considering it's something that I want to do. Now, when I realize and want to take a step back and see all the reasons as to why I'm not doing it at the full potential, now it's my job to realize, okay, once I identify what these things are, I have to take initiative, because now I know. Now I know what it is, and if I can control what's stopping me, it's up to me to spin around, do a 180, and make sure it's something that's now in my favor. If it's me deciding not to wake up at a certain time and allowing myself to get overflowed with different errands and different tasks I want to get done, now it's my job to, take initiative, wake up early, get whatever I get done in advance, and do this. But if I don't do that, like I said, it's only gonna get worse. It's a matter of me now. It's not a matter of the mistake I made or something that I'm not aware of. Now I'm positive and I know what it is and I'm aware of it. Now it's just me. Now it's just what I'm doing. So you don't want to put yourself in a position where it's like, what am I doing wrong? You don't want to be the reason why you failed to do something. You want to be the reason why someone else fails to do something either, right? So it's like, if you are ever on the opposing side of someone else's success or even your own, make sure you get on board, or at the very least just get out of everyone's here. I suppose if you're one of the people that just refuse to do that, but that's not going to get you anywhere. And I wouldn't want to see people simply bring themselves down by not realizing just how much they aren't allowing themselves to be picked back up and to pull themselves up. So like I said, don't be the reason you don't succeed, and don't be the reason why you allow so many things to get out of hand, and now it's going to fall back on you 10 times harder in the future. But that's going to be all for this episode. I appreciate each and every one of you guys listening. I'll see you guys in the next one.